Hi, everyone. Heather Williams here with the California AfterSchool Network. As always, joined by Michael Funk from the CDE Expanded Learning Division, and we are here for another one of our special edition fireside chats. And so this is the second in a series that we will have where we are getting to speak with some really special guests. These are our awardees from this year's Lights On Afterschool Leadership Awards. And so really excited to recognize these folks in California for their leadership in expanded learning. And during the award ceremony, we get to hear a little bit about folks, but really excited to have these three on to learn more about them and their work they do. And so we'll just jump right in. And so, Daric, I'm going to turn it over to you and have you introduce yourself.
All right. Good morning. My name is Daric Jackson, the Director of Instructional Leadership and Intervention in Cupertino Union School District in Northern California, where we service 23 schools, five middle schools, and 18 elementary schools. I'm very excited about the work that we are doing. This is year 29 for me in education. I'm very excited about that, closer to retirement, but still looking to have impact on the students and staff that I encounter. I will pass it over to Lena.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leina Dingle, and I am the ELOP Expanded Learning Opportunities Program admin intern over here at Whittier Elementary School in Newport, Mesa Unified School District in Southern California. I've been in education since 2005, so probably about 20 years now. Um, I've been in this position for 3 years. It's a new position in our district, and so um, my main job, I would say, is overseeing the after-school program. But 20% of my day, I'm helping our daytime, just what we do in the daytime, and just being an assistant to my principal. Now, here's Deidre.
Hi, good morning. I'm Deidre Corwin. I'm with Glendale Unified here in Southern California. I have been in after school programs my entire career, so 33 years. We have programs at 20 elementary, for middle school, and just opened our second high school program last week. So we're very excited to have these opportunities. We combine our preschool program, our general child care program, our after school education and safety, and our expanded learning programs into one program to serve as many kids as we can.
Deidre, it's not often there's someone with more years than I've got behind my belt. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I guess you get the term OG today.
Yeah, I'm a lifer.
Well, if he didn't have a chance to see the Lights On After School recognition uh, ceremony that we broadcast live over YouTube Live, these three were one of 16 or so people across the state that were selected out of back of the napkin, over 100,000 people who work in expanded learning. And so a super meaningful and amazing ceremony that was incredible and very touching to me to hear the stories and everything. Um, I'm wondering, just because we gave each of you a link to share the live broadcast of recognizing you, and you were all introduced by someone that's part of our system of support for expanded learning. And those introductions were personal and meaningful and with passions. People believe in you and wanted to lift you up and wanted to recognize you, and that enthusiasm showed in their introduction. And then each of you responded with very powerful passion and statements. I just wonder, after that day and after you had that honored to be recognized. What did you notice? What shifted? What did you hear feedback from peers, family? What might have shifted with a recognition or visibility of your program? What just off the cuff, what happened? I'm going to start with Lena.
So, it was actually pretty cool. My principal put the link up in the NPR, and so teachers got to come in, or if they wanted to watch it with their students, they got to come in, or they put it, some of the teachers put it on their overhead, their screens in their classrooms. So they were watching it live as we were doing it. Um, my family in Hawaii was able to log on and watch it there as well. And as my high school teachers from Waianae High School, they were able to log on and watch, and they were sending me text. And um, Diego, when he introduced me, he talked about a video that he showed. They showed our very first meeting, and so that video took place at my high school in Hawaii. So as I'm sitting there listening to the video, I was like, this sounds familiar. They make a joke about people speak pidgin in Hawaii. And so when the little boy was speaking, it just reminded me of me when I was young and sounding like that. And he started talking about the store that I used to go grocery shopping at. And so I just thought it was like a full circle moment, just having my high school teachers listen in on our the award ceremony, and it was I was recognized at our ELOP admin intern meeting, and I'm told that at the next board meeting, I guess they're having me come and be recognized there. The other thing that I thought it was funny, I started getting emails from like outside providers and it was like, "Hey, I saw that you won this award and this is what my program offers." And so I started to get a lot of emails about just outside vendors wanting to pitch their program to me, so I can have it here at Whittier. So it was fun. It was I was full of gratitude and it was just exciting. It was exciting for our school. Like the teachers were so excited to be recognized, and so
That's really amazing. I'm not surprised you're going to be invited to the board. Your superintendent, Wes Smith, is a real champion of expanded learning and has been a friend to expanded learning statewide. Um, what a special, I remember when you were talking during the award ceremony, you talked about little Lena, seeing yourself in those
mhm.
kids in the video. And what a treat that your teachers actually put it up live for students in the school to watch. That's amazing. Yeah.
It was
Wow.
fun. And a lot of the students came up to me and was like, "So you grew up like us?" And you know, um, they're more understanding. Like they're just like, "Oh, so she was us," and so, just being that role model for them. I look like them. I don't sound like them, but I look like them, and just just encouraging them to like just strive for what like opportunities are endless, so they just have to work hard.
Well, that's some of the real, you're articulating what some people notice, but maybe not really sink in, that one of the most powerful uh, features or the reality of expanded learning is that our young people can see themselves more easily in the staff and the leadership because it's because more of our staff are connected to the communities more directly, but also the time is more informal. It's less teacher student, it's more interactive, project based, it's more community by design. Well, okay, I got to talk to these other two over here who have some things to say. Deidre, how about you?
Um, my staff definitely sent lots of love and support. Was announced at our principals meeting for the district, and that was really great. I've had a lot of hugs and calls saying thank you for all these programs you bring to our kids that we've never had those opportunities for our kids. I think for me the biggest one was I talked about that 33 years ago when I was in college. We went to the college and said, we need an after school program at night for the kids here, and us students will run it. We need to open. We can't have kids in cars while parents are trying to get an education. Um, and two of my professors reached out from that time. And that was really special to have them still remember me from that long ago and support me. So that was super. Um,
Deidre,
I
how did they hear about you receiving the, I remember you told that story during the award ceremony. You told the story about advocating to start a program for children of students going to the college, but how did the professors hear about it?
so I did share the link with some of my college buddies that were all part of that. We're still friends, all these years later, and we still communicate. And um, we still communicate with one of our professors, and she kind of shared it around and just wanted to let the community know that we're still working with kids. It's still important to us. And so that was really special to hear from somebody I
Wow,
hadn't heard from in probably 20 years.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Um, Other than that, it's just, get for me, it's just get right back to work. What am I doing next?
Thank you, Deidre. That's a special story. And Daric, Mara sent me pictures later that afternoon of some amazing events that you were part of for Lights On After School, and you in action, fist bumping kids, keeping it real. What was the day like for you? What's been going on since?
Well, that day was very special. One to receive the award that I didn't know was coming my way. But really, after the ceremony, like Deidre just said, jumping back into the work. So, going to the campuses, seeing our students and staff in action. And that day was special because we had the um, Patrick Aaron to show up to look at our program, to see the work that our partners are doing. So one of the things that we have been constantly doing here in our district, one of the things that I take pride in is that I try to visit all the school every day. So I like to be hands-on. But that day gave us an opportunity to reflect with the team because it took a team approach to put this program in place from the ground up. So earlier, my direct supervisor, Allison, hopped on, and she's been very supportive of the work. So her and I had a moment to reflect and like, wow, can you believe we made it here? Because we didn't have anything in place like all other school districts 4 years ago when expanded learning opportunities program came about. But to take a moment to step back and reflect on the progress we've made and still the areas of growth that we need to continue. So that's what we have been doing because we actually haven't had a chance to stop and to reflect because we just continue with the work because we have so many families who really take advantage of this opportunity. It's what drive us to do the work that we're doing. Actually, I was on a campus until 7:30 last night, helping a family. And even though I was tired, I felt good driving home, knowing that we are supporting the families who really need this support, this program. It is changing lives. I don't know if the world really realized the impact of after school activities. it's changing the lives. So I just wanted to emphasize that point.
You know, I just want to pause there. So many people throw out that phrase, Daric. Um, and I'm not saying they do it flippantly, but I'm just saying it's often used. And like you, I've seen it up front. I have seen the fact that families come to expanded learning staff because they have a relationship. You know, families come and pick up kids. Like at the end of the school day, teachers might walk the kids to the bus, or they might make sure they get out the gate or get across the street. But with expanded learning, someone's coming to the desk and picking up the child. And in my career, my 20 some years in San Francisco before I came to CDE, I remember watching caregivers come up to the site coordinator when they're picking up their grandson or their son with a letter that they received from the city, and they don't know what it means, and they need some help understanding what this means and how do I navigate this. And so this almost every site coordinator and some line staff end up being part-time social workers. So that's you, 7:30 last night. Just how did that transpire? What happened?
So it was actually positive, being able to call the different um, agencies to come out to give support to the family, not just for that moment, but something that will continue today and hopefully for the next weeks to come. And also, my focus today was to come into the office and call the school and figure out what additional support we can give to families who need it, right? So really thinking about the wraparound services for kids. So, it lends to what I talked about the day that we received this award last week when I talked about my work with my mother um, back in 1980, starting then when we used to have camps for kids in the neighborhood. And it's not just for the ones that are low income. It's for all kids, right? There's kids at every level that need some additional support. So, I felt good. Hopefully, we will continue to do the work that we need to for all families.
Thank you, Daric. And I kind of want to build on what you and Michael have been talking about in this next question. And we talked about this a little bit in our previous chat too, is that, you know, ELOP has presented this really great opportunity in our state. It's a lot of money resources, but just because you have more money doesn't necessarily mean things are going to be great. And there's been struggles along the way. And it takes real leadership to actually use those resources to um, provide for our community. So just love to hear a little bit from each of you how, last few years, how you as leaders have been able to work in your roles in your districts to turn these resources, dollar resources, into um, something really great for our community. So what have you been able to do with your teams? And Deidre, why don't we start with you?
Thanks, Heather. I think one of the big changes that expanded learning brought for our community was the infusion of partners. That was something that our community had been very resistant to because we had run programs since the 40s here that were district run. And this kind of forced us to step outside of our comfort zone and bring in partners to, I think I'm over 25 different partners doing uh, just across the spectrum of experiences for children. And that's what I try to look at it with is what did I get to do after school when I was able to go home? And what are kids who don't have that opportunity not able to do? And how do I bring that those experiences to them so that they can explore imagination and physical education and sports and science and all those things you got to go and mess around with in the house, but they don't have those opportunities on a school campus. And I think that's been the biggest thing that has changed for us with expanded learning.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. And Michael and I sit in office hours on many Fridays throughout the year, and it's always interesting. We get to hear stories about like, can I do this with the money? Can I do this with the money? And so um, I appreciate when we do have leaders that look at that opportunity and how can we bring in the community and these really unique opportunities for our students that they might not otherwise get to have. So.
Yeah, and Heather, just let me just interject. I mean, I've been in meetings over the last couple of months, but was in a big meeting Wednesday when I was presenting to the leadership at CDE about the importance of expanded learning as part of the community school movement.
Mm.
And in community schools, I make the case that the line is very blurry between a community school and expanded learning because of just what you said. You're bringing in 25 new community partners. And so our communities are healthier when schools are not isolated in this bubble, but they are seen, and it's not just bringing more community into the school, it's helping that school become a center of the community. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll turn it back to you, Heather.
Daric, why don't we turn it over to you?
Okay, so you asked about leadership. I said that things doesn't happen by osmosis, right? So a leader actually has to lead. I think about what it requires to be a leader. A leader for this program have to be able to create a strategic plan. Like, what's the blueprint? And when we first started, we talked about the kids and the kids that we wanted to target and build a plan around that. A leader also has to be someone that can inspire, that should have passion and compassion, and just keep everyone engaged. Like Deidre was saying, because we engage with so many partners and community members and students and staff, someone that has that type of relationship that can engage anyone at any level is very important. And it's amazing that kids, because all of us have worked with kids know who is real and who's not. They can read right through you.
Yeah.
And one of the things I appreciate is that, I've been able to have been in this position for 4 years to build those relationships with students that sometimes have adults come in and out of their lives, right? So leaders put people in place, we try to anyway, that would be around to have an impact on our students. So just understanding what the impact is, help us make decisions that will support kids. So it does take a leader. I just want to be honest about that. I'm not comfortable talking about myself. I'm comfortable talking about programs and how the programs work, but I will say in terms of my leadership ability, understanding my core values, which is empowering others, integrity, and service to the community. It takes those leadership qualities to really do this work with kids and adults.
And adults, yes. And I do want to highlight, right, something you were saying, and you said it quickly, but I think it is really important. There's a lot of flexibility within expanded learning, and sometimes there's pushback about that, like, hey, the state needs to tell our programs what to do. But the flexibility of ELOP and our other funding is so that you can look at your unique communities. What do your students need? What does your community need? What does your community have to offer? And how do you build that strategic plan and that roadmap for your community? So that cannot not be underestimated, the importance of that. And so, yes, thank you. Thank you for your leadership with that, and I'm glad you started off with that.
Great. Thank you.
Leina, what do you want to add?
Just thinking about like where my school is, where's my district, and we're so close to the beach, that a lot of my students here at Whittier are afraid to go to the beach because they don't have just the basic water skills. And so we had an idea of piloting swim lessons here at my school. And so my director, Chris, is like, hey, Lena, we're just going to have swim, by the way. Oh, okay. We have a month to launch it. I'm like, oh, okay. So Ben Carlson Foundation, here in Southern California, they're pretty known. His the foundation started, his son was a lifeguard and he drowned saving someone. And so they wanted to be a part of this initiative. So they jumped on board, and also the YMCA. And so from that partnership, we had 45 students that signed up really quick. I think it was like full within the first day. We provided swimsuits, we provided transportation to and from the pools, and so it was really a great, like a team effort, and and it was successful. We had two students from the swim program enter into junior guards, and so they entered into the junior guards summer program, and I think they're continuing with that. And because of I think how successful it was, and parents really reached out about just thanking us for providing just water safety. A lot of our families don't go to the beach because a lot of them don't know how to swim. But we're like so close to the beach, and it's such a bummer to not use that. It's free, first of all. And so now all 8 of our sites provide swim lessons as part of their one of their enrichment choices. And from what I've heard, it's been pretty successful. We have 4 schools going in the fall and then 4 in the winter. I think with Whittier, though, we're doing something a little different. So that same group of 45, we're taking them to the next level of the swim um, uh, pyramid, I guess you can say. So I think for us here in Newport Mesa, that was a pretty successful and big deal, just providing the water safety for our students, and that we live so close to the beach that so it was exciting to see. The kids had fun. Some of the parents asked if they could join the swim lessons, and unfortunately we couldn't. But I think for us, that's the you know a highlight of last year and going into this year.
But maybe that could be a family, intentional family program down the road, getting the parents
Ooh,
involved because
yeah. We were
what a powerful experience. There are some districts that have really, remember we've had districts on the Fireside chats. Pajaro Valley comes to mind that they've been very intentional about creating experiences for families, going places that people might assume everyone goes there because it's close by, but these families don't go there
mhm.
for a variety of reasons. And with a lot of things going on in our country, families are not going places. So I think I interrupted you. You were going to add on, Lena.
No, I was just going to say that the YMCA and I was trying to figure out how families can continue this during the summer. And so, we worked on that. So YMCA was ever provide passes for the families to come. And if they wanted to do like group lessons, they were able to work with them. So that was great.
Our schools in the Sunset District in the 20 years before I came to CDE were all within blocks of Ocean Beach. Now we wouldn't put kids in the water in Ocean Beach because they'd get swept out to the sea. I mean, it's one of the most dangerous beaches in Northern California, and only the faint of heart surf there. But the other, things to explore, there's lots of things to do on the beach without getting in the water. And many of our kids when we took them to the beach, it was their first time. And they were blocks away. So expanding horizons, that's what we do.
Right. Well, I think we are coming close to the end. So I think this will be our last question, and it'll be just a quick one. And so my question to you is there's a lot of folks watching, and whether you have been in your role for 3 years or 33 years, again, you all were selected as leaders in our state to highlight. And so just one lesson that you've learned that you want to share with folks, a bit of wisdom to pass on to our other many, many, many leaders across the state, because all of our staff, no matter title or role, have an opportunity to serve in a role of leadership. So I see the thinking going on. Anybody want to kick us off with their leadership lesson or words of wisdom?
I'll start.
Awesome. Thanks, Leina.
So I feel like my advice to um, anyone who wants to be part of education, part of after school, um, just to love what you're doing. You gotta love helping, and you have to love providing opportunities. And when you really focus on that, it comes through, and the students know that you're real and that you are coming from a place of love, and you're doing this, you know. Um, so that would be my advice. And I tell my team that you can do whatever you want. You just gotta, but at the end of the day, you have to love and enjoy what you do, so it doesn't seem like work. Um, and I think, a lot of our, like my lead team, they take it to heart. And so, and my instructional assistants, I hear back from them when they do cover at other sites, and they would just be like, Lena, I just want to come back to Whittier. So we try to build a sense of family here. And I think that portray, like, just, it comes through in our program, that every is one family, Team Whittier, and so we all come from a place of love.
Thank you, Leina. All right. Daric, you want to
Yes, sure.
jump
Uh,
in?
oh, absolutely. I love what Lena just said because that love will continue to push you through. I will also add, though, that some advice I will give people is to involve others in the process, to include the kids, right? Talk to the students. What do they want? We as adults sometimes have a tendency to try to put a plan together. So I call myself an older guy because I'm, of my age. My thinking is only limited, right, to my experiences as to what I have been exposed to. So bring young people to the table because their world is different than my world. Because I may think I have a good plan, but they may have a plan that'll just blow my mind. So engaging the students, getting feedback from them, from their parents, from the communities. And because the communities are so diverse, you have to have their input. So that's one thing. And also with the adults, just bring more people to the table as you're planning, you get more ideas. This old saying I call it old now, thinking outside the box. We've been saying that for at least 25 years. What does that mean? Because there's no longer a box when you think about expanding learning opportunities because there's so many things that could be offered out there. So one piece of advice, bring a group of people together to help plan because one person cannot do it alone.
Wonderful. Wonderful advice. I think we definitely agree with that. Deidre, you want to bring us home?
I completely agree with both Linnea and Daric. You gotta have the love. You gotta have what we call street data. You gotta get it straight off the street. My biggest advice would be remember that kids can learn differently, and out of school time should look different than the school day. And don't be afraid to try what the kids want. Even though it may sound crazy, try it, give it to them. They will make it so amazing. You'll be able to sell anybody on that it was a good idea.
Right. Awesome. Awesome advice for our folks out there listening. And I just, as we wrap up, I want to say a huge thank you to each of you for the work you do in our communities. It is so impactful, and not just for the kids, but for the adults you work with, for the families, the larger community. So much appreciation to each of you for the work that you do. I know we don't always get appreciation in our day-to-day lives for the amazing work, so I want to make sure you each feel deeply appreciated. Um, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael to close us out.
Close us out. I could go on for 2 more hours. Um, Heather, I don't know about you, but we had a little bit of a lull in recording the fireside chats, and I've just missed this so much just to connect with people that are so inspiring and remind me of my why and why I'm in this field and why I can't think of a field with more generous, loving leaders. You know, it's so obvious in everything you say. It's so obvious in the way you say it, and it's obvious in what's coming through in who you are. Daric, you said I don't like to talk about myself. I like to talk about the program. Well, let me tell you, you don't have to talk about yourself, but you were recognized because people see you and are inspired by you and want to emulate you. They do. And you don't have to talk about yourself to influence people around you to be people that also approach the work with love, with human connection, with street data, with people seeing themselves in little Leina, all those things. And I don't know of any segment of education that uses the word love more than we do. And I say it all the time that it's not like kids feel good about you. I mean, they do, but it's that kids know that you see them. And a family knows that when Daric's here, it's like 6:15 and we're stuck. Okay, let's talk to Daric. Daric will listen to us. That's priceless. That is what humanity needs. It's what families are looking for. And so many times our families think of the school as an institution. It's a transactional relationship. I go to this class, and I'm not putting all teachers in this bucket. Trust me, I'm not. I'm part of the California Department of Education. I like schools. I'm just saying, for many families, the relationship with school is transactional and institutional. And with you, their relationship with expanded learning is a place where I'm loved and I'm seen. So thank you, the three of you, for leading with love. Thank you for inspiring me. Heather, I think we just ought to make a plan. You know, travel's not easy with the state right now, but I think we should just make a plan to go visit all these places.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Daric, Deidre, Leina, can we come visit?
Absolutely, anytime.
Love to have you.
All right. thank you for who you are. And let's all lead with love. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.